I remember watching a sketchbook tour. Almost every page had a fully finished illustration. Many comments were complaining that it was not a sketchbook, but in fact an art journal, simply because of this. Some of the comments were from beginner artists worrying that their own sketchbooks didn't look as nice. And it did make me think, should sketchbooks be only for sketches? So an art journal is a journal that's filled with lots of art and images. Many people do collage and finished pieces in there. The lines between an art journal and a sketchbook are rather vague and kind of grey. I personally treat my own sketchbooks like an art journal. I write my notes all over them. I draw scribbles, I do studies, and some illustrations in there as well. On one hand, the artist can do whatever they want in a sketchbook, and doing those finished pieces is a great way of learning different media and techniques. And if you only do unfinished work, then you aren't learning the full art process, and you're not learning and experimenting from that. You can also experiment in your process of making the finished pieces too. And an argument against that is that if you do show your sketchbook online, beginner artists may be intimidated by seeing a lot more finished pieces in those sketchbooks. So these are more specific to people that show their sketchbooks online, particularly on YouTube. I remember when I first started filming my own sketchbook tours, I did try looking for others that looked a bit like mine at the time. My sketchbook was rough around the edges and filled with lots of pencil drawings and pen drawings as well. All I saw were lots of colourful sketchbooks instead. Beginner artists are often unfamiliar to art, and they will look to YouTube and artists they look up to for tutorials. Why do you think there's so many how to fill your sketchbook videos or how to find your art style videos? It's people looking for them. Another reason against putting finished illustrations in your sketchbooks is that many people see Calarts sketchbooks and think that their whole sketchbook has to look like that. But then you can argue that those sketchbooks are filled specifically to apply for the art school. The prospective students have to fill the requirements and guidelines for the sketchbooks in order to be accepted into Calarts. Here are the requirements for a Calarts sketchbook submission. A complete sketchbook filled with your drawings, observations, stories, research for films you like to make, thumbnails, character designs, studies of images from films or other sources that interest you, etc. We want to see what you are uniquely inspired to draw. We recommend that you do not use online sketchbooks for reference. Please draw directly in a sketchbook rather than assembling pages together. Drawings in your sketchbook should be different from the drawings submitted in your online portfolio. Sketchbooks come in many different shapes and sizes. Feel free to work in the type of sketchbook that you like best. So, from what I can gather from these guidelines is, there's still room to breathe for the artist to experiment and be individual, yet still work to these requirements and guidelines. It does not explicitly state that there must be finished working there. Another argument against people doing finished illustrations in their sketchbooks is that they should be more transparent about their process, and that they shouldn't pass off finished illustrations as just a quick doodle. And I agree with that. By dismissing your finished illustrations as just quick doodles, it almost feels misleading to the viewer. Now, that's my personal opinion. You may agree or disagree on that one. You can also argue that sketchbooks are a place for experimentation, and filling all pages with illustrations may not help you to grow, especially if you are just doing things within your comfort zone, such as drawing the same subject matter over and over. You can also argue that sketchbooks can be extremely personal and individual to each artist, and they can fill those sketchbooks with whatever they choose. In my personal opinion is, artists can do whatever they want. It's their sketchbook, and if they want to fill it with finished pieces, they can. I sometimes do finished pieces in my own sketchbooks from time to time. I also went on Reddit and I asked people in an artist subreddit about it, and I got a unanimous response that artists should also do what they want in their sketchbooks, and rightly so. I did get a few comments where people specifically disliked it when artists pretended that fully finished drawings were just sketches or doodles, and I also agree with that. Like I said earlier, it does feel rather misleading to me. I'd say that the only times where someone can dictate what you should and shouldn't put in your sketchbook is if you're doing assignment for school, college, or uni, and it requires sketchbook work. I've had many assignments in school and uni where we had to use specific size sketchbooks, and we were also marked on the content inside them. We had to show our designs, our thumbnails, research, and so on inside the sketchbooks. Sometimes I made finished pieces inside those sketchbooks. Sometimes I did studies of other artists in there. They were a place for our teachers and examiners to figure out our process and to know how we got there. I used to think that artists should never put finished art in their sketchbooks at all. And I feel like for me personally, it might have come from a place of jealousy. At the time, I was very unsatisfied with my own sketchbooks. I wanted them to look more colourful and have nice compositions. I remember watching a lot of sketchbook tours, hoping to get inspiration for my own one. With filling lots of sketchbooks and experimenting, it has helped me a lot in my own art journey. In the past, I had side sketchbooks when I cut out bits and pieces I liked and stuck them into the main sketchbook because I was worried about messing them up. I think that people should not worry about their art looking bad and just let loose. Sometimes you don't need to strive for perfection. You learn a lot from your mistakes, and you should learn to love the process as well as the end of a piece, whether it's a sketch or an illustration. I do actually have a sketchbook that I am planning to fill with finished pieces as a challenge to myself to do more traditional studies. It is tiny though. It's smaller than my palm. I work on it on and off, so it's not my main sketchbook. There are some unfinished sketches in there that I'm not a fan of. I'll just leave unfinished, but sketchbooks can be rather organic like that. So, what do you think? Should artists be allowed to do finished sketches in their sketchbook? Should they just call it an art journal instead? I thought this was an interesting topic to talk about. It's been on my mind for quite a while. So anyways, thanks for watching. This video is a little bit different and I decided to dabble a little bit in this more video essay, I guess, commentary format. So I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time. Bye!